Welcome back to my channel, and today I wanted to speak a little bit about the reality of temptation and the fact that it will happen to you on your walk with Christ. And as a Christian, you will face temptation. Okay, there are many counts of temptation in the Bible, specifically when Jesus was tempted in the wilderness. We can see the story of that when the temptation of Jesus when he was led by the Spirit into the wilderness so that he could be tempted by the devil, okay? Where he was tempted on 3 different accounts before he, essentially told Satan to be gone from him and that he should not tempt the Lord your God, okay? Well, the way you will find this play out in your life is that, you'll get to a point in your life where you give your life to God, you get baptized, and, for a while, you're living your life, sanctified and righteously and in the best way that you can, putting your best foot forward, doing the best with what you have learned and what you now know. You at this point can provide testimonies and have seen a huge change in your life. And it's to the point where so many others can't even deny it too, because they can see your light shining and they can see these miracles. If people really pay attention and talk to you and get to know your story, people can start to really put 2 and 2 together and say, this person has, supernatural miracles happening in their lives. Like, this is not just them. Like, they really do have God with them, right? So you will experience that. Then out of nowhere and out of the blue, okay, things will begin to start happening to you. Tests and tribulations will occur. They will come. So the most important thing to know is that it will happen and to be prepared and expect it, okay? So don't be caught off guard, when the time comes in your life when you are tempted. That's a given. That's just going to happen, okay? It happened in the Bible, and we can just use Jesus as the example for the story. You can use other stories too. But if Jesus was tempted in the wilderness, we will be too. We're not going to go through each and everything that he went through. For example, the work that he did on the cross. Thank God, giving God all the praise and the glory and the thanks that we will never have to, go through that exactly, the way that he did, because he did that for us. All right. So, but in many other ways and many other occasions and circumstances, we will go through other tests and trials that we will be expected to pass. All right. We're not perfect, and, we never will be perfect. Jesus is the only human who is and will ever be perfect. Okay. That's not the goal, but the goal is to do the best, do the best that you can with the knowledge that you have and what you've learned. To achieve this, you must realize and understand that it's going to take a very high level of focus and discipline. All right. God knows, your vices. God knows what you put away. Satan knows what you put away in your vices, and those things will rear their ugly heads at some point. This time dressed up, the most attractive version, will come along in your life and try to sway you and persuade you, distract you, tempt you to, take a different path from the one that you're already on, okay? All right, so this reminds me of the movie The Pilgrim's Progress. So I don't know if you guys have ever seen The Pilgrim's Progress, but if you haven't seen that movie, it's a great movie. I recommend you go watch that. I'll link it down in the description box below. There's like a couple of different versions of it on YouTube. There's an animated version, and then there's a filmed version where you have real actors and things like that. But and that movie has so many different lessons in it, but one of the lessons is that, that it reminds me of is, how the main character Christian, goes through temptation when he decides that he's gonna go on his walk and his journey to find God and to find salvation. So in the movie, he finds the Bible. He finds this book and discovers that it's the Bible, discovers that it's God's word, and decides that he's going to leave everything, everything behind, his wife, his children, and he's going to abandon his worldly life and his life that he's living in the Matrix, okay, and go on a journey of seeking salvation, leaving everything behind. And although now he is, when he made that decision, he's equipped with all the, the blessings and the things that he's going to need to take on this new journey, and he has the strength and the focus and the determination to even take this journey on, so although he, he starts out strong, and his faith is very, very high, and he's got all this energy to take on this new journey and this new path. Eventually at some point along in the movie, like, temptations start to arise and they start to meet him on his path. And there's several occasions where he doesn't make the right decision, okay? And you can see how every time, the times that he doesn't make the right decision, how he's set back. He's set back and he has to start over, essentially. And, each time that he is set back, like the forces of evil and Satan and his minions and everything are like, they're rejoicing and they're happy, and each time that he doesn't fall for temptation, or each time he makes the right decision, and how angry they are, how angry Satan is, the fact that, we are able to resist his forces and resist temptations that he will place in front of us. Okay, so it's the same thing in our lives. It's the same sort of thing that we are going to face in our lives. The fact of the matter is that this is all spiritual, and, evil forces in our lives want to see us fall. They want to see us fail. They don't want us to be close to God. Satan does not want us to have the relationship with God that we have. We've gotten too far already. He if it were up to him, we would never even have taken the first step. We would never gotten as far as we did get this far. And his mission and goal is to come and kill, steal, and destroy all of that progress and all of the work that we have done and that we have put in. So what is he going to do? He's going to, he's going to come in, just like when he came around Eve, in the book of Genesis, when he came around as a serpent and tricked Eve and made her think that it was okay for her to eat that apple, and, and to make her think that, she didn't need to listen to God. She didn't need to follow, his what he had told Adam and Eve in the garden. He will come up and so slyly try and get you to take and fall for whatever temptation is being presented to you, okay? So expect that, be aware of it, and don't be caught off guard when it happens. Be prepared to stay strong and to turn your back on sin, okay? This is not about you getting out of character, or you needing to become a different person or anything like that. God is testing you in the way that you behave, in the way that you act, the way that you speak, the way that you're going to be carrying yourself and presenting yourself. Make sure that throughout it all, you're going to maintain the character that you've curated, that you've cultivated, and that you've earned up until this point. That means you remain loving, you remain forgiving, you remain focused, you remain disciplined, and you're gonna walk in those fruits of the Spirit. Okay, you're gonna continue to walk in those fruits of the Spirit. Show love to the person that might be trying to tempt you. Show forgiveness. Okay, even pray. Go so far as you can even pray for yourself and for the situation at hand that you're facing, whatever you're going through. You could also you could be finding yourself in a very, very tough situation where you're gonna need strength. Okay, pray to God for strength. pray to God to keep you focused and for understanding and for his wisdom on the situation, because we're not going to have God's understanding on why these things are happening. Okay? But if you have faith and understand that, you'll be tempted just for the sake of it, because, it's going to happen to you as a test, then that could maybe provide you a little bit of comfort in knowing that things will be a test and all you must do is do the right thing. Okay? Do the right thing. Just do the right thing, because you never know what God's plan is and what he has in store for you. Okay? He does have beautiful, amazing, gifts and blessings and everything, wonderful in store for you. And we know that as Christians, we know that. And no temptation, no result of giving into a temptation would ever outweigh, the gifts and the promises that God has in store for his people, okay? For the people that love him. So, keeping that in mind, maintaining your discipline, and always remain walking in the fruits of the Spirit. Keep your line of communication open with God as well. He wants to help you. He wants you to always lean on him and to always rely on him. Okay? And he's going to be waiting and watching for that. So, guys, I hope that this video helped you out. It just so happens that I'm actually going through a season in my life where Satan is tempting me, okay, on more than one account. I'm being tempted in I'm always being tempted, in a variety of different areas in my life, okay? But I think that over time, once you get to a certain stage in your walk, and if you've taken the time and to do the work to build yourself up with discipline and, reading your scriptures and through prayer and doing the right thing consistently, you will find that you have a strength that, can't easily be taken, can't easily be broken. And you can find comfort in that, knowing that nothing will be easy. Life is not about, this life with Christ is not about lollipops and rainbows. And life is a bumpy road. Life is not just one bump in the road. It is a bumpy road. But you can persevere, and you will persevere. You will make it. All you have to do is just do the right thing. I know it sounds sometimes maybe easier said than done. But remember, and always keep it in mind that, God's promises, what he has for you, stored for you in heaven, can never be replaced, could never be duplicated here on earth, with simple and fleeting temptations of Satan. All right. So I love you so much with the love of Yeshua HaMashiach. Okay. And I pray that this message strengthened you. I pray that it gives you all of the encouragement or just a little bit of motivation and comfort that you need if you're going through any sort of temptation, or if you need the strength to start over after you've made a mistake. Okay. Have a great rest of your day, and I will see you back on here again later. Bye.